greatest show on earth.
Welcome back to the Con Culture Convo. I'm your co-host on one side of the screen, Chris Bauer. There's Tim. Look, we're crossing over.
Wow. What?
Isn't that crazy?
That is
in
crazy.
The same place.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
And at my place.
That's true. This is Tim's place.
This is mi casa. We are currently filming it in my living room, not in my studio, because it's a little too small for both of
a little
us.
cramped.
So we're doing the whole couch thing like they do at all the famous podcasts do, so maybe now we'll make it big. I think that's
the goal.
I think that's the only qualifier. They don't tell people. You just have to do it on the couch. Like, put it, do it on a sofa.
Are we still talking about podcasting? What are we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite ever related video stuff happens on the couch in a back room.
All right then.
There's no casting happening in this.
That's an honest assessment. I'm here in Greenville, South Carolina, because I did a show in Columbia, South Carolina this past weekend that we're gonna review it for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna review it for you. You're gonna listen to my review, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it all. So.
You'll throw in your little tidbits every now and again.
Correct.
Yeah, it's did a Central Carolina Comic-Con, brand new show. So stick around for the review. The Con Culture Convo is supported by Toy Temple. Toy Temple is one of the largest Funko and exclusive pop culture distributors in the United States. They specialize in providing an experience for fans through events, experiences, and an easy-to-navigate website full of unique collectibles at incredible prices. They have 9 retail stores in Arizona, booths at San Diego and New York Comic-Con, and a fast-growing website with 24/7 customer service. So head on over to thetoytemple.com, and we have a special for our Convo listeners. Use promo code CONTALK15 to take 15% off your next order. That's thetoytemple.com. And thanks to Toy Temple for supporting the Convo.
And welcome back. So, Central
Carolina. Okay,
it's hard because back-to-back weekends is a Central name show.
Yeah, but also, if I say the word Carolina, it always has North or South in front of it for me.
Correct.
This does not. This is a Central Carolina Comic-Con. So it was very confusing. Also, so just a little to preface this, I did a show in Sacramento, California the previous weekend, last week.
Sac Anime, shout out.
And then had to drive from coast to coast to Columbia, South Carolina.
No thanks.
And weather chased me the whole way across the U.S. Didn't see a lick of it, so I got very lucky. I stayed ahead of it. But it was very long driving days. 3 very long.
How many hours total was the drive?
So 38 hours
in 3
total.
days.
In 3 days, yeah.
Oh my! Was the last day just miserable?
Oh, dude, it was the absolute worst.
Oh.
I'll stop for a nap most times once a day, but sometimes I don't. The last day I stopped 4 times. I could not deal with it. It was just
Which is really terrible because you have that circumstance in your head of yeah, sure, I can stop.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I stop for too long and the storm comes, that drive comes way
100%.
longer.
And I was gonna cut my drive short on Thursday and stop in Atlanta. And then Atlanta, of course, was going to get that weather. And I was like, I better push through. I'm glad I did because I never saw snow. Even in Columbia, they just got rain. But Atlanta got 3 or 4 inches and shut them down.
Oh,
so that would have sucked.
How bad the traffic would be already in Atlanta, that bad.
Yeah.
And then throwing in fucking snow.
Well, the last time that happened, they had people that literally left their cars.
DreamHack,
on. Yeah.
You picked me up, and I was wearing shorts and a hoodie because I was coming from California where it was 85 degrees, and I didn't look at the weather at all, which is on me.
Yeah.
And he picked me up, and it all of a sudden, it wasn't snowing, it was dusting. And I was like, what just happened? And I'm like, it's snowing. He's like, yep.
We're in the South.
What?
Yeah, so luckily I skipped the weather, arrived Thursday night exhausted, and then, but I got to sleep in because Friday setup didn't start till 11. Okay. I got there about 1-ish. It was at the fairgrounds in Columbia, South Carolina. I had never been to Columbia, South Carolina. It was my first time.
Really?
Yeah.
ever.
I believe so. I can't recall going before.
I mean, I guess the only other real show you have Triad, which neither one of us have done.
No.
And then we have Soda City, which I do.
Yeah.
And that's downtown, totally different area.
Yeah, it'd be at the convention center. Yeah, this was at the very nice fairgrounds, which, by the way, is right on or next to the University of South Carolina.
Okay.
Because they had
what's their mascot?
Oh,
mascot
good question.
Expert?
Oh, I'm not a mascot expert. Now, if it was food related, I could tell you a mascot.
You just said you were. So.
But
you got a 90% on this review last week.
Yeah, on food mascots. You know how many college and high school mascots there are for football? I'll bet it's hundreds. Hundreds. Anyway, their stadium was right next to the parking lot. It was very nice stadium.
It's the Gamecocks, isn't it?
I have no idea. You're asking the wrong person. I don't follow college basketball. If you are a South Carolina fan, I apologize. I'm sorry. I should have looked at your sign. You have a very nice stadium, though, for your football players.
The mascot is Cocky.
Cocky? Is he a...
University of South Carolina represents a cartoon character of a gamecock. A fighting rooster. So I was right.
A fighting rooster. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Tim's got your back if you're into the Gamecocks. Anyway,
I can't talk about backroom casting couch, but you can bring up.
That's their name.
So who's the backroom casting? Which is staged. In case you didn't know, guys, that was staged. Believe it or not.
What, the backroom casting?
Everybody was like, "No,
I don't feel like anyone thought that was a hidden camera show."
When I first started, I thought it was. I wonder how long ago it was, because I feel like it was authentic.
Are we reviewing the backyard casting? Backyard casting. That's the redneck version.
Oh, God. I don't want to know what you get in your backyard. Ooh. Oh, boy.
Anyway, sorry if you're part of Central Carolina Comic-Con. We don't mean to talk about adult films.
We know them. They'd probably be laughing right now.
Well, maybe.
Are you talking about this? And yes, that is a fantastic series.
What was I talking about? Oh, okay. So I arrived.
Yeah, Loden.
I arrived for Loden. Got there about 1. Loden was 11 to 7 on Friday. And I loaded right in the front door, but they were loading in the back and on the side. There was lots of access points to load in, but my booth was near the front of the entrance.
Are we still talking about?
Yes.
Are we
definitely talking about Loden at Central Carolina Comic-Con. So I had a 10 by 20 booth. It came with 2 tables, and I added a couple of my own. Put the backdrop up, put the lights up. I think I was out of there at 4:30. It's about.
Did you fully set up or no?
Yeah, fully.
Wow.
It was like super easy.
How was it like parking on that?
You literally parked. They gave us a parking pass to park right behind the building. We just pulled in every morning, parked right behind the building. It was easy peasy. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
that's great.
It was got no complaints there.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning. Show started at 10. I was there about 8:15.
Okay.
An early bird.
Against the worm.
Got the worm. Got there, put my print order away, kind of puttered around the booth, so to speak. Yeah. And of course, as you do with all first year shows, every vendor's do it. We go from each other's booths to each other's booths. And like,
the show's
I sure hope there's a crowd. Boy, these first year shows, you never know. We all say the same BS.
Yes.
But it's real because
it's justified.
because we've all been on one of your shows where pandemic, Sacramento, where the front door is
open. Shout out.
No, that show's long gone for good reason. And the door's open and it's like a poof of dust and no one's coming in. Anyway.
I don't know. Poof of dust had more chances of buying than
yes, in that pandemic, that's correct.
Yeah.
However, what didn't help our worrying bones was there was no one out front. Turns out, because there was rain on Saturday morning, they were queuing them in the building next door.
Oh.
So
it's like a good surprise.
So yeah, we kept going by at like 9:30, 9:45. I'm like, there wasn't a soul out front of that door. And you've got like 8 people to run like line, and they're just standing there, and you're like, oh no, what is happening? 10 a.m. comes up, bam. It filled up quick. Like they, once again, brought in a crowd, first year show, and they showed up. And they just filled up. So the hall was, or the building I should say, was 2 halls with a permanent wall in between that had 2 openings.
Ugh.
Large I know.
I hate
which
that.
automatically
That
freaks me
scares
out.
me.
I hate 2
Were you in
room
the
shows.
front or back room?
I was in the front, thankfully.
Okay. Were the celebrities in the front or back room?
Celebrities were in the back room.
Okay.
Oh no, they were in both.
Okay.
They had them go around the back of each room.
Okay.
Also, they put the entrance in my building and the exit in the other building. I was very nervous because nobody knows. Whenever you get into a room or a situation like that, when there's a 2-room show, basically, you're in either the right room or the wrong room.
Correct.
It
There's
always happens that way.
Yeah.
So that was also a little bit nerve-wracking.
I always felt like that, but it didn't. It wasn't like that because it didn't have 2 rooms. But the side type table thing is like Portland, the Oregon Center. It has that weird L-shaped shape.
It does have that L shape.
And like I remember the first time I was on the right side, I thought it'd be the better side, and it was so bad.
Right.
And then when I asked to move to the left side of the opening last year, and it was really bad again. And then so I was like, I just want to be kind of towards the middle facing, and then I had a decent show. And then I moved, and I'm like, I'm not going back to Portland. It's way too far. I haven't been back.
I think that's more about Portland than it is the show.
Portland's not my town.
Portland's it can get a little.
I don't see
rough.
myself ever going back there, to be honest.
I do okay in Portland shows enough that I would go back, but
you do better than everyone else.
I'm selective with it.
You're one of the very few people that does well. And
yeah, I do love Portland.
Because there's other shows around the Northwest that I do fantastic.
Yeah,
it's just not Portland for me.
Yeah, Portland's a very specific town. It really is.
Yeah, a lot of like, I control that, and you're like, I'm sure. That's why you're at the attendee and I'm here selling.
Then go do it. Yeah. Either way, I was happy to be in the first room, but again, because it's the first show, I don't know if that's going to be the good room or not. So Saturday starts. First hour goes by. I think I had 1 sale in the first hour.
You nervous?
Yeah, but my stuff is like that. I get a lot of it, especially when you're near the front of a show. You get a lot of people. We just got here. We're going to take a look around.
Terminators?
Yeah, a lot of I'll be backs. Tons of Terminators. Yeah. And about 11:30, it kicked in hard. Okay. And I was busy, and I haven't been busy at a show in a while. None of the December shows was I ever busy at for 2024. So, I was sort of busy last weekend.
Good December shows?
No.
Because all of them were down.
They were all down.
Everybody I talked to, they did. Hallmat, we were down. AWA, they were way down.
Steel City, I was down.
Steel City, you're down. Not bad, but just not.
No, that Steel City was my best show of the December, but the bar was really low.
Yeah, 50-50 on GalaxyCon Columbus. I heard fantastic things from.
I did Permian Basin Christmas edition. That's the first time I'd ever done it, but I did not do well. I will not return.
That's Midlands, right?
Yeah, that's in Midlands, Texas.
Midlands has to be one of those boring places to ever visit.
Which is why usually a lot of their cons are good.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, and I had heard good things about that show. I don't think the show's necessarily bad. I think the crowd was just down this year.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like 5 shows there, and Midlands is not a town that
there's a lot
support that many.
There's a lot
you
of
just
shows.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, Chicago can support 6 cities if done right.
Yeah, they can.
6 in the city and whatever, New York, LA, stuff like that. Big cities. But these small little pass-through towns, which Midland is.
It is, but I think also it plays to that. It gives the town people a little bit more to do having multiple shows. But I agree, if they don't have the money to go to all of them.
But if they show up still, there's me not going to buy shit.
Right, 100%. Anyway, Saturday finished out strong. It was a really good day on Saturday, earnings-wise.
What were the hours? Remember?
They were 10 to 6.
Perfect.
On Saturday. Yeah.
7's the latest.
Yeah.
6 is
and I'll say this, we could have closed at 5. Just like every other show on Saturdays now. It doesn't matter. It clears out.
So 11
it didn't bother me open to
11 to 5, just like
11 to 5 would be great, which is exactly what the hours were for Sunday.
Okay.
So
5's too late. I'm gonna call it now. Is 5 too late?
Of course.
Okay.
But it wasn't that by that much. Honestly, I think I had a sale after 4.
1.
Probably.
To a vendor.
Probably. Yeah. No, it was probably to a customer. But, I started packing up by, 4:30, 4:45. Just kind of, getting stuff together, and then...
Was that the common census around you? Were people kind of calling it at 3:30?
Yeah. Well, there was some comic guys that called it early on Sunday. So starting at 11... I like VXV. They actually do this at every one of the shows. VXV owns this show and several others throughout the South. Yeah. And they always do 11 o'clock starts on Sundays. Yeah. And I always forget that, and I always show up around 9:30. And I finally remembered this time, and I got to sleep in. And it was nice.
I just slept in until like 5:30 this time?
No, I slept in until like 8. But still.
That is late for you. And you woke up, grabbed your laptop, and started editing.
That is correct, yes. That's,
for 2 hours. And
I was able to put in some editing time, premiere a video, and then get packed up and get out of there. Yeah, so Sunday started, again, a little slow, but by noon, banging it out. And honestly, all the way through the 3 o'clock hour, it was really busy too.
Till 12 to 3:30, 3:30,
100%.
like we talk about.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, some people did pack up early. So and let me also say, this show did, I think, I don't know if it was officially sold out vendor-wise. However, there were empty booths when I showed up, and VXV actually was going to run 2 shows this weekend, one in Rogers, Arkansas, NWA, and this one. And because of that snowstorm that was chasing me across the U.S., was hitting Little Rock, or hitting Arkansas in general, they canceled that show week of.
Yeah, several days before.
Which is always a...
Nobody likes
that. We've talked about that.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
No, but one of the cool things I got to give them kudos on is they immediately offered booths to the vendors that were in NWA. They offered them first come, first serve on the extra booths they had for Central Carolina Comic-Con. Which I thought was a cool maneuver. Yeah, exactly. They refunded everybody. They refunded everybody's tickets.
The right thing to do.
Yeah, and they offered booths. So there were several dealers that I wasn't expecting to see that were actually at Central Carolina because they were planning on going to NWA in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But when I showed up, and even on Saturday morning, even with those new vendors there was still several booths that were still open. I don't know if they were from no-shows or if they hadn't sold them.
I mean, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that had weather problems.
100%.
If they're based in Dallas or they're based somewhere, and they didn't leave until Wednesday or Thursday, they didn't get there. If you're trying to pass through Atlanta on Thursday.
There was a ton of weather problems that throughout the whole U.S. that were...
And they had a lot of celebs canceled because of that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that over the next week or two of the celebs that live in L.A. A lot of them...
Yeah, with the fires.
They're having to cancel. I've already seen some major cancellations for like Fan Expo New Orleans last weekend. Yeah. And I'm sure there'll be more.
Yeah, I mean, Christina V, she canceled, and it's because she had to be evacuated. Yeah. And they had to go down, I think they're in San Diego or something. It's
and everything becomes less important.
Who gives a shit about a show?
Yeah, exactly.
It means nothing. And we're talking about somebody that can make $50,000 out of a show, and they're like, I don't care, because literally my house I worked so hard for to get, and my career, memories, the success is coming, all the stuff I have inside.
I'm going to be homeless. I mean, it's not a pleasant feeling.
There's one things where people are talking about how they had to leave in less than 10 minutes. Yeah. And I'm sorry, if you guys look around your house and go, what do you need to grab in 10 minutes? I don't even know where to start. And you can't, half of them couldn't even drive out. Yeah. What do you grab?
I know.
I mean, it almost makes like everybody feel like you need to have an emergency actual. I know we always talk about these things, like you need to.
You need a go bag. Yeah. From when the cops are coming.
Yeah. But you genuinely need to be like, I need to make sure I grab these. Like, I have my hoard of cash.
Well, your important papers and things like that should always be in one place. Yes. Most people keep in a safe or hidden somewhere.
They said if you have, I was watching a thing they were talking about. So they said if you ever do have something like this happen, whether it's like tornado, something, and you have maybe, let's say 15 minutes where like you have to get out, get out your phone as quick as possible and walk through your house and record every single
100% for insurance.
Record every art piece, every thing. Open your cabinets and just scan stuff. Yep. Because at worst comes, you can remember where you did it, maybe where you bought it, the value of it, whatever. If not, it's he said, she said. And then guess what? Insurance companies ain't going to do nothing.
No. So, if it's in question, you don't have a recording of it or a receipt. Yeah.
And like the people who are on this, probably watching this podcast, are probably collectors of some type. I would say it's pretty safe to say. Majority of you guys are collectors, whether it's comics.
It's not something you're really going to get to evacuate with, but you're going to want to get compensated for if you have insurance.
But you need to catalog all of your stuff, especially the stuff that's expensive. Like I have slab books in my office, and all of them are categories and say then take a photo of.
I mean, most of the things in my collection, I've cataloged a lot of it, but not all of it.
You just take a lot of pictures, write it down in your
files. I do that mostly so I don't double buy things.
Correct.
So I use it at shows.
There's apps was a lot easier for that. It's like there's a comic book, YZ. There's there's a bunch of apps that you can use that will categorize and do that. And I would definitely recommend doing that because you never know. I mean, the flooding like here in South Carolina, we had massive floodings with Helene that we weren't expecting to get. I mean, go ask all of our friends in Asheville the kind of flooding that they thought that they were going to get. People from my area in Greenville went to Asheville to get away from the area here, and they got worse. And so, it's always just important to protect your assets because guess what, guys? Like, if you aren't, no one else is.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But so hopefully everybody in Rogers, I
think they got the snowstorm. Like it didn't skip them; it hit them.
It wasn't that bad.
I don't know if it would have. I don't know if it would have ruined the show or not. Yeah. Either way, they took the precautions. They got out of it, and everybody went to Central Carolina. Also, I think it was an easy choice for them because they have an anime show there in 2 weeks in Little Rock called Little Rock Anime Fest. How far is that away? From Rogers?
Yeah.
It's 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. I mean, because Rogers is on the edge of the state.
I think it's time NWA-Con moves.
I agree. Last year, October, they had a problem as well.
Yeah, and the year before, I think they did too.
Yeah, they get a lot of weather.
They do.
It's
a nice area. I don't know why they can't,
Yeah.
I feel like they need to beg the convention center for a different weekend. I mean, it's just, they said that they couldn't get any other more in 2025. So, their post, which I hope that changes because it's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
And,
it really is.
just as a fellow promoter myself, and I know Jay, the owner, and you don't want them to lose money on something. I mean, I can't imagine how much money
that is losing money. I mean, no matter what, they lost money on this year's and on about halfway through the show on last year when they had to bail on it.
Yeah.
Because weather does hit that place.
I mean, it's time to move it or think about maybe just another alternative or something. Yeah. Switch it with something else. Something, I don't know. But
I don't know. Well, either way, I got packed up and out of there in about an hour and 15 minutes. I was able to right out the side door by my booth. That was my experience at it. As far as how good it was, it's a pretty good show.
Okay.
Yeah, I had good sales. I didn't make my 3 times what I would like to make, but keep in mind my expenses were super high because I drove from Sacramento, California, with hotels and gas all the way across the country. My expenses were much higher than if I had just gone to that show from home.
Yeah.
I would have made way more profit if I did.
How much did you spend on gas on that?
Oh, it was just over 500. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you get on
I drove coast to coast.
You have a bigger SUV.
Yeah, it gets about
loaded with 20.
Yeah, I'd say it's down to about 20.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to do about it. It's got so much weight in it. But yeah, so my expenses were higher, so I was still happy, very happy with my profit margin though. I would definitely do it again. I like also, can I say, I like having good show options in January
and February for that matter.
Oh yeah, anything in those 2 months that's actually good.
Love if they move that show to February,
or just leave it alone. Leave it alone and leave it in January.
If it was after my type of show.
Well, yeah, you do have an in the area show.
Yeah, it's 60
within 2 weeks of that. Sure, I get that. But as far as more winter shows that are good, I don't need more bad options. I need more good options. This was a good one.
Good.
So yeah, I would definitely do it again. Trying to think what other tidbits about Central Carolina Comic-Con am I missing?
So I'm gonna throw Chris for a loop here.
Oh, good.
He doesn't know I'm gonna ask this question.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we're actually gonna do a little 2 for 1. Woo!
Okay.
2 for 1. Okay. We're gonna do a review of Sac Anime as well. Throw it in there.
Oh wow. Pivot.
So now that you talked about, let's talk about.
So we're just going back in time.
We're going backwards.
We're going backwards today. I went to the winter Sac Anime like I normally do. However, normally I do in January's. I start with Sac Anime, and I usually try to have 4 shows that I can stay out west
like
to do.
Portland
with a lot of time right after it. Albuquerque's usually the 3rd weekend.
Yeah.
However, I didn't get into Albuquerque this year, and Portland was at the very end of the month. Also, Portland bombed last year because they again got a blizzard.
That was a gnarly.
That was horrible.
That might be I think that might be the worst weather of a con.
Especially in Portland, which turns out they don't have a single snowplow. They borrow any snowplows they need. They borrow from Seattle.
Yeah.
So It was a terrible show last year, and then they moved it. But again, it worked because it was the weekend after Sac Anime. I would hit Sacramento, drive the 9 hours up to Portland, and do the show the next weekend. That was not an option this year. It's at the end of this month is the next Portland Fan Expo.
So you could head back out.
No, definitely not. Because also last January, in the process of doing all my out west shows, I hit some of the worst mountain weather blizzards I've ever been in. And yeah, it's hard. Not scared. Pure terror.
Which I can tell you guys, if you don't know Chris, this guy will drive through anything. He grew up in northern Michigan.
I have no problems driving in snow.
There was no problems with him. No problem. I've seen him drive through the crazy shit that I was terrified over. He's like, oh, it's no big deal. But, so if he's scared, it was really bad.
Yeah, I drive in Alaska, no problem. No, I don't care if it's 5 minutes snow. But when you're on a mountain pass at night in a complete whiteout where I couldn't tell if I was going forward unless I just watched out the side window. And you don't know if you're next to a cliff or not.
Yeah.
It is so, and you can't stop because you can't see where the shoulder is, and you don't know how many semis are going to come and just completely wipe you off the road.
I mean, it's almost like you have to go behind a semi truck and just go the loop 13 miles an hour.
I would have paid $1,000 for a semi truck to be anywhere near me. Just so I could have someone.
Because they weren't dumb enough to do it.
That's correct. Let's actually say that. They're smarter than I am.
Professional drivers we're not.
And I will admit, in that trip, usually every year, I usually, even though I plan and watch the weather, I usually get caught in at least one. This last January, a year ago, I got caught in 3. And I'm not sure. I think it probably took years off my heart. Like, it's horrible.
It's not worth it for me.
Oh my God, is it not worth it? And then the shows were not worth it.
Yeah.
So it was literally, it was terrible. So this year, with Portland being at the end of the month, which I didn't really want to go back anyway, and Sac Anime being one, I went ahead and just assumed I was going out Sac Anime for a one-off and coming back east. And I started scheduling shows accordingly for that. So that was why I knew going out there, that's what I was going to be doing. I went, I'll just mention, after I left Sac Anime on Monday, I went right down to Los Angeles and did several videos that I've been wanting to do forever. I don't get into LA much. And then Tuesday morning, I did not start the fire. Please don't think I started a fire. However, when I came out of my room Tuesday morning, the day of the first fire, the wind almost blew me off of my feet. And you could tell it was going to be a problem for something. Because there was semis getting blown into my lane as I was leaving town, and when I pulled off the exit to do another video, the entire town, the power was already out. This was bright sunshine, but these wind gusts were insane. Anyway, everybody knows what's going on in LA since then. Yeah. I think within an hour of me leaving, that first fire started, and it's not stopped since. But that was what kind of set up. Oh, where was I going with that? That was after Sac Anime. Let's go back to Sac Anime since we started talking. Load in for Sac Anime.
Same loading docs.
Same everything. That's the consistent thing about Sac Anime. I like how they do everything the exact same by the book.
Yeah.
Loading was the exact same. I showed up on about noon on Thursday, and loaded right in. I think I left mid-afternoon.
Sac Anime is a 3-day show.
It is.
Unlike Central Carolina, which was a 2-day show.
That is correct. Okay. And Sac Anime starts at 11 a.m. on Friday for VIPs, noon for the general public, and it goes till 8.
How is the VIP on Friday?
As it is with every show that starts an hour early for VIPs. You don't see anyone until noon when they open the doors.
Yeah.
VIPs go for celebrity autographs. Yeah. That's just what they do. That's who they are. That's what they're there
What's the worst show for you for VIPs?
I don't know. It's honestly, they're all bad. I have never, doing this as many years as I have never ever been like, oh my God, VIP hour was banging. Ever.
The worst for me is MegaCon because it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Oh,
or 2 hours.
God, why?
Everybody gets.
You're right. The Fan Expo shows. You're right. Yeah, they do those 2-hour.
They do it for Denver too.
They do it. I think they do it, and in fact, they did it for Portland last year. Which was hilarious because Friday was the best day of that weekend because everyone was like, "Oh, Snowmageddon's coming.
Yeah,
let's get in here on Friday
and buy some shit and go home."
I mean, yeah, but it's still VIP. You could do without.
Yeah.
But I get why you do it as a show promoter. It's a great way to upsell. It's a great way to give the fans something a little extra. I totally get it. From a fan point of view, VIP stuff is fun.
Yep.
From a vendor point of view, we can all sleep in more.
Correct.
Yeah. So Friday was good. I'll say this: their crowd, it didn't thin out as early. I'll bet 6:37. I was still working. Okay. So it wasn't like what is going on.
I mean, that show is so consistent as far as the crowd goes.
It is. Having said that, the crowd was down.
Within 10 to 20% of the normal.
Yeah.
You're never going to have it be like a bomb and then really good and a bomb and then, you know what I mean? Like,
I would say
it's somewhat in that range consistently. Overall, you know, it's one of the more consistent shows out there. And especially for being twice a year.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's not many people that can do it. Like, I don't know, besides Sac Anime and Steel City, I'm not sure there's any other shows that could do 2 years successfully.
I'm always amazed at shows that can do multiple.
Who else does it successfully off the top of your head?
Those are the only two I can think of. But there's also not that many ones that do it.
I mean, I know GalaxyCon's doing like the Nightmare Weekend and a regular one. Or
Collecticon is jumping in this year with, they're adding, I think, 5 to 7 shows. Yeah. But at least 3 or 4 of them are double time coming back to the same city.
Charlotte, Atlanta.
I don't know if that's going to work out for them. However, I will say I did try to get into Atlanta.
Good luck.
And within 30 seconds, every table was sold. How is that possible?
It's insane.
It doesn't matter.
I'm waiting for them to jack up their prices.
I mean,
because they haven't gone.
They are pricey though, because you cannot buy 2 tables there. No. You have to buy 3 to 4 tables to have a normal size booth.
Yeah, because they do like
and they're $350.
They literally do like a perfect square with the tables around on each side.
It's a rectangle,
almost all connected.
Yeah, it's a rectangle.
You have one opening on top, one opening on the
table. My first time I tried there, I tried to get 2 to do a corner, right? And my booth, the way it is, it ends up being about a 5-foot deep booth.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Well, if you do only the corner tables, because that's what I did the only time I did it.
Yeah.
And it basically is like a probably 6 by 6 space.
Yeah, that's
because
all it
it's
is.
like
that's
you don't have any extra room behind you.
No, you have nothing.
And luckily, the guy next to me had like 4 tables.
Yeah.
And I literally told him, I said, "Hey, like, can I just could we connect?" Like the tables are connected and the openings on the other side. I'm like, could we push it to that other side?
Yeah.
So I can have an opening out and just kind of spread out. And the guy's like, oh yeah, you can't get yeah. He was very nice. Thank God. If not, I don't know how you could do a 6 by 6 foot space.
Well, if you guys remember the old Wizard World Artist Alley.
Yes.
It's the exact same setup.
If but it's not 8 foot tables, they're 6 foot.
They're 6 foot.
Which makes it worse.
If you bought a corner, you always need to buy the third table.
Correct.
Because that was the only way to make a Wizard.
I
loved them. We used to do back when we were doing every Wizard World, that was the same booths we always got.
And that was $500 for that.
Yeah. It was great.
For basically 3 tables. I mean,
and it was it was like a 12-foot wide or footprint plus a corner with like a 6 foot.
They were 6 foot. 8 feet, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Those were 6 foot.
Dude, I'm 90% sure they were 8 foot.
Comment below
6.
if the Wizard World Artist Alley tables were 6 or 8 feet.
So I'm gonna think that it was on the side. It was 6 and then 8 if you got 3. Like if you got the 2 together.
Oh, you're saying there was a mix, maybe 8 foot.
It was 6 foot for the side.
6
like
foot
the depth wise was 6.
That I'm not sure.
And it touched onto the 8 foot one.
It might have been.
Because there's no way that there was only 4 feet less than 4 feet on the first table. If you only bought the corner and that was it. There's no way.
You might be right about
I think it was 6, 8, 8, which is fantastic. That's 16 feet of space.
Which I would have liked. It just seems like a lot for an artist alley. I don't know. Comment below, or if you have pictures. I guess I could go back and look at our old pictures of it. But who's going to do that? We'll just have you guys tell us.
I mean, they're so old. They're going to be on like 720p. On the
Actually, half the people watching are going, "What's a Wizard World?"
Yes. For all of you ACers, Wizard World is the company that Fan Expo bought out.
They're the reason that, honestly, there's shows every weekend now.
Yeah, they started.
They really did. Yeah. Once they started buying all the shows and making them Wizard World, they got to 30-something at some point. There was all of a sudden, con season went from March to October, doing about 1 to 2 shows a month, to, we can work every weekend, March to October, and then a few in the winter. Yeah. And it just kept growing and growing. But we'll do a history of Wizard World eventually. Yes. We'll save all that.
Yeah.
Either way.
I liked doing their shows, though.
I did too.
I felt comfortable at their shows. I always kind of knew I was never going to bomb at them. Didn't mean I was necessarily going to have a fantastic show. Yeah, but you didn't feel like going in that it was going to be that bad.
No, there was always optimism, and always like, oh, this is going to be good. And then by the end of Saturday, like, I'm screwed.
Yeah, but then
this isn't getting better.
The one positive for them though is that like if you talk to Peter or Joe or whoever, and like you bombed, or did really bad, and you talk to them, they would take care of you.
They really did, actually.
Like they didn't say give you free stuff, but they would be like, "Yo, if you buy this corner booth for this show, I'll hook you up with the inline."
Or they would discount you, or whatever. I know there was a lot of business practices I do miss about Wizard World. I thought they were a good
being a bigger company. They were hard to access besides in person.
I mean, they got a little rough at the end.
Yeah, like everyone though.
Yeah, I know, and
they already knew things were happening, and they still owe me 3 booths, but never again that way.
No, I don't think you are. Either way, where were we at? We're reviewing Sac Anime.
How was Saturday for Sac Anime?
So very steady. Crowd was big. Again, crowd was down from last year. Now it's going to be down from the summer because the summer's their bigger show, but it was definitely down from last January. But the people were spending money. So even though it was down, it was still a good show. They were still making sales and buying. They weren't just all terminators.
How was like your per transaction amount? Was it up, down, compared to kind of normal?
For a show I think it was about normal. A lot of times, I only have 2 size prints. So a lot of times I'll either get a 4 for a regular print deal, or I'll get a metal deal, or make that a triple metal deal. Triple metal deals are
triple metal
deals. They're not as common, but they do happen throughout the day multiple times.
Good.
But a lot more often it's a single metal or a 4 for deal.
Yeah.
So I would say my transaction amount, I didn't compare it to last year's, but I'll bet it's pretty close to being about the same. Okay. And saying that, and there was a way bigger crowd last year. So I'll bet you that's really kind of what it
from September. Did you end up or down?
I was a little down from September, but that's
10,
20 maybe.
Okay.
But that's perfectly normal because that's a way bigger show.
Yeah.
January I ended up being right around the same as last year, and again was significantly less attendees. Anyway, of course, definitely re-upped. Didn't hit my 3 for, but again, when I say I don't hit my 3 times expenses on these shows, it's because they're winter.
Yeah.
And there's different rules for winter shows. When, 3K in winter feels like 5K. Yeah. It's not always true, but it really is when it comes to January and February shows. That's why when you can find one that really performs better than that, you're like, ooh, I got to hold on to that one.
Yes. And it's worth, look at it this way. It's worth you driving almost 40 hours each way just to do a show.
Yes, I would have liked to have been a bit more, because what's funny is I made very close to the exact same money at both Carolina and Sac Anime, and Carolina is only 8 hours from my house, so it would have been better.
So knowing what you know now, if you had just stayed home that weekend, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I would have less money. I mean, I definitely made decent money at both shows, so I'm glad I went. Yeah. But it is always annoying when something that far away performs the same.
So ideally, it would be like if you can have another show, like the Carolina, whatever, back-to-back weekends in January that's out here.
100%. I wouldn't have to go back out. I wouldn't have to go out to Sacramento.
Would you not go to Sacramento?
Oh yeah, I would give up Winter Sacramento pretty quickly if I had a equivalent show closer. 100%.
Yeah.
It's hard that New Year's weekend. The first weekend in January, there's really not a lot of options. There's Anime Zap in Chicago or Peoria, Illinois,
which
Sac Anime
also have insanely weather quite easily.
Yes, 100%.
That area gets real snow.
And I really can't think of anything else. Sometimes Fan Expo would fall on that weekend.
Yeah.
But I think next year it's New Orleans.
Yeah, I'll stay home for that.
Oh yeah, that's never a show to go to. But again, that's more about New Orleans than it is Fan Expo. It's just New Orleans, as we've discussed on this show, they are not con fans. Some of them will show up, but most of them will not.
Well, I mean, it's okay because the market clearly shows that because we're having 14 shows there next year.
Yeah, I know.
Or this year.
Jeez,
that's going to be interesting.
Hey, listen, you guys, if you get only one New Year's tip from us, don't do shows in New Orleans. What are you doing?
There's your 2025.
That's it.
The day. Just
we can sum up all the tips, and that's going to be your best one to save money. Yeah. Don't do a New Orleans show. They all underperform across the board.
Correct.
And you'll be making things like, I mean, I only did this, but I love their food. You know, and I like to walk around Bourbon Street. Like, well, watch a YouTube video and stay home and save money.
Or just go there on vacation. And not have to worry about having a mediocre show to go to.
Yeah. Because you're going to get disappointed by that show.
I mean, you could literally lose money and then be there to spend money.
Here's my thing. We've done shows where we want to go do, like, have fun in a city. However, I will say this. I have to really work on my mind to be like, you're going for the food and fun. You're going... Because if I have a mediocre show, I don't feel like having fun.
No.
I feel bummed out, depressed. Like, it's hard. So if you're planning it that way, it's tough.
I think there's only 2 places for me in the entire United States that are like that.
Yeah.
One is Charleston.
Yeah.
Any show in Charleston, if I'm available that weekend, and I know I won't lose money, but I'll make very little.
Yeah. But you get to go to Charleston,
Because Charleston, guys, FYI, such a better town than New Orleans.
Yeah, it is.
Better food. Yes, I am saying it right now.
No, you said it last
Better food. I'm going to say it again. Because people don't...
We definitely had the same exchange last year.
Because it's so true, though. Like, Charleston is so much better food.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
and, like, such a more variety. New Orleans is very limited in what you can get as far as high quality food. I mean, look, if you want to go for that style of food, the Creole style, you're going to find fantastic
food. It's delicious. I love their food.
Charleston, we can go 3 different nights and have top tier, top 5-star quality food.
Yeah, I like Charleston.
And, like, we're already booked to go to the show there. We already have reservations at 3 different places.
Yeah.
Like, we're already set for our meals.
Yeah, and the show's decent, but it's never a great show. But I know that going into it.
And
that's
anybody knows this. Typically, we either record a podcast together when we're out or whatever. We've already cleared that schedule to go out 3 times in a 2-day show.
Yeah, I'm already exhausted.
Like, we don't ever do it. It's 1 a weekend if you're lucky.
That's true.
So that tells you how quality Charleston is as a city.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to do like a ghost tour on top of that. Like, we're going to do things.
I love Charleston.
Which tells you how great Charleston is.
It's really good stuff.
The downtown Charleston area, the historical district, is arguably one of the best places in the United States to go.
It's all 1,700 buildings, man.
Yeah.
And I don't mean number of them. I mean the years that they were built. 16 and 1700s.
Yeah. What's your other one? Mine's Hawaii.
My other one, but that's not.
It's not happening.
You got to really count continental United States because Hawaii, of course, that's the pinnacle.
Yeah. But the problem is now, though, it's like now that we both live so far away. Like when I live in California, you can come out to my house and then we could go together. Dude, now you're looking at an 18-hour flight day.
Yeah, because the first time I went out to Hawaii, I loved that because I drove right to LAX and just it's a 6-hour flight. You know, it's easy peasy. The second time we went, the last time we went was Chicago.
Long. Oh, Lord. And it was direct and it still took what was it, like 11 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it was brutal.
And we had weather and COVID.
So, no,
we brought COVID over from Hawaii to Chicago.
That's
I'm just kidding. We did not start COVID. Yeah. But it was the last flight we took for a long time.
Yeah, that was way too long.
They shut down the world.
Yeah. But as far as, get my second anime to finish it out.
You didn't give me your cities, though, besides Charleston. There's no other ones in the U.S.?
Well, it used to be Portland.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I used to love Portland. Portland's really changed.
Portland's changed.
I still love going to Portland, but as far as hanging out, I used to love going to San Fran.
San Francisco used to be one of my favorite cities in the United States. You couldn't pay me to go there.
No.
It's a dump now.
Just the theft and the
oh my God.
And the home, it's just gone out of hand.
Yes.
But honestly, I would say
Savannah up there.
I mean, I love Savannah, but I still don't do a yearly show just to go.
No, it's not.
And again, that's definitely falls into that category.
Oh, there's not a single.
You're not going to do well at a show there, but there's a lot of show options.
Yeah.
But man, is the city beautiful.
That is one of the worst towns in the United States for shows. And it shouldn't be at all.
It is. I know it really shouldn't be.
How is it not a 20,000 person show? Like a pop culture type show.
Oh, no.
Like GalaxyCon, if you're doing 25 shows, do GalaxyCon in Savannah. Like a normal one. Don't do any other horrors or animes. Do a regular pop culture show there and really advertise it, and I think you could get 15 to 20,000 people there. Maybe not the first year, but build up. I absolutely think.
No, because they have a couple of pop culture comic cons there.
They're terrible though.
That's the yes,
but
they are.
They're not putting. Look at the guest list.
That's
they're not
my
bringing
point.
In a stacked guest list.
No, but anyone that does shows that invests in shows and wants to get a return on their investment, they look at what's happening in Savannah and be like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why they're never going to have a show.
And it's an expensive town.
It's a really expensive town. We've found a couple others that I can't think of another city, but I know there's been a couple others where I've been like, oh, I really like coming here.
I will say one.
What?
I absolutely loved Greenville when I came here originally. Like,
I love
visiting downtown Greenville.
Well, that's
South Carolina is fantastic. Yeah,
I agree with you. Greenville is one of those cities that you can find awesome things to eat, beautiful scenery.
Yeah, the downtown's the best downtown in the United States.
It's gorgeous,
in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is gorgeous.
Maybe not for like your over cliche.
I've shown it in a vlog.
But,
it's beautiful. And one of the best looking parks I've ever been to, right downtown.
Yeah, Ready Creek, right.
Yeah, so I'd say Greenville's a good secondary, but you live here, so it's not really like a...
Not anymore. No, it's not on my list anymore, but it was. That's
right. Yeah. Anyway.
So how'd you end up at Sacramento?
Sacramento. So Sunday ended up being good. Again, they do have, I will say this, they do have a 6 o'clock end on Sunday.
That's a joke, dude.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, I mean,
and I would say by 4.
Oh, everybody backs up.
It was empty as could be.
Yeah.
And I will say by 6, I was almost done packing. So, I mean, I guess that ended up working out like that. But
I don't get that.
I don't either. I don't see the purpose of it.
Most of the celebrities are anime voice actors.
Oh, they all take
They already hit their numbers and they're gone by 3.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I mean,
you're not getting more. Like promoters wise, listening to this, it's like more hours of a show doesn't mean more sales.
No.
At all. It may have been the past, 10 years ago maybe, but now not at all.
But they've always had that 6 o'clock Sunday, and it's weird. I don't get it.
Especially like in the wintertime when it's been dark for an hour.
Yeah, 100%. And you're always loaded.
Everybody's got to drive, and no offense to like Sacramento as a city, but like everywhere around it is fucking shit. So if you're driving anywhere, like you want to start driving and get on the road a little bit,
you got to drive a few hours.
You literally have to go 3 hours to get to what is it, Tahoe?
I usually go to. Well, it depends on where you're going. You either go to Reno if you're heading back east.
Yeah.
Or if you're going south like I was, because I didn't want to get caught in Downer Pass in some snow blizzard.
Wow, whatever happened bad there?
I know. It's weird. Usually people can just go right through it. But I went south, so I ended up stopping just south of Bakersfield. So I got down. I was trying to get as close to LA as I could.
Yeah. I mean, that's a 3-hour drive.
Oh, no, it was 4.
4?
Yeah, it was 4.
I mean, that right there, that's, I'm sorry, but in the wintertime, that means you're not getting in until 10.
Oh, it was
11.
11. Yeah, it was 11.
And that's way too late to be driving.
Yeah, because I didn't get out of there till about 7.
Was it 90
about 7
or 5?
I did 90.
Yeah.
Or no. I started on 99, then jumped over at
to 5.
Yeah, Fresno or Stockton, and then went down.
See, but 5. Then both freeways though going south at night.
Yeah. Oh, and you're going through the mountains too. That's where I finished. Was going through those mountains. A lot of LA.
It's one of the top DUI places in the United States.
Well, I wasn't drinking.
No, but you have to deal with the other crazy motherfuckers. That's a problem.
Well, that's probably true.
And if there's weather, it adds a lot of.
Either way, the show ended up decent. Of course, did not make my 3 times, but I did make 2 times. So I was happy.
Would you have paid 3x if it was local-ish?
Oh, of course I would. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you spent $1,000 on gas.
Oh, yeah, between the 2 shows, yeah, I did. Yeah.
No, I mean going there and back.
That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, but I attribute that.
But if you didn't split, but if you just came home.
Oh, I just came home.
It was $1,000.
Yeah.
Say you didn't have a show this weekend, or
because the 500 that went going to South Carolina got attributed to expenses for South Carolina.
Yeah.
If I was just going home, it would have just been $500 more. Yeah,
$1,000 in gas is insane.
Yeah, but I did go coast to coast, so
butter toast, baby. Let's go.
Anyway, that's my review for both Sac Anime in Sacramento and Central Carolina Comic-Con, brand new 1-year show. Looking forward to second year. They do not have dates for Central Carolina Comic-Con second year. Sac Anime is always the first weekend of January, and also Labor Day weekend is their second show. So
I think
those are the dates.
The NWA and Central Carolina need to move to February.
I mean, I guess I'd be fine with them moving February.
A little less weather
but there are more show options in February than January as of now.
Not that many more.
I could read off a lot more, but I'm not gonna.
I mean, MegaCon,
do your own research.
MegaCon, I think, will move, so I think that'll be gone. So
yeah, MegaCon will probably move back to May like they used to be, and good because that screws up my show I'm going to next weekend. Central Florida Con, Ben Penrod's show with Nerd Street.
Let's go.
And that show's decent, and then you throw MegaCon an hour away the next weekend. People are then like, these are great prints. You going to be at MegaCon?
Also, Ocala was this past weekend.
Yeah.
So that's 3 shows and
3 shows in 3
back
weeks
to back to back
within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
So I would love for MegaCon to move.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
Agreed.
Anyway.
So I'm
anything else to add?
Yeah. So I'm going to do a quick review on my own.
Sweet.
I know to make this even longer for you guys. So I was at IchimonCon promoting Anime Town Greenville. So this was weird.
Which I've definitely never been to that one. I've always looked at it, but I've never been to it.
And it was very weird for me because it was the first show I've ever done where I wasn't selling anything
that would
particular.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I could do it.
I did it because there was a lot of people that were coming to Greenville.
And I get why you did. You had a purpose. But man, that would have been brutal.
People were like, it was very good to talk to, but there's some times where it was like for example, the snow was coming. He got lucky. He didn't get anything. Yeah, we got like 3-4 inches of snow. And it was like, I was looking on the map, the like Doppler, and it was like light pink, which was like an inch. And I was like, a dusting. And I said, okay. And I looked outside. It was at like 5:30. And I was like, the show only did like, I think 7 or 8. And I was like, you know what? I'll stay as long as I can. I looked, and then all of a sudden it refreshes because the signal was really bad. And it went from being light pink to like this really dark red. And I was like, oh. That's not good. And it was like arriving at like 6:22, right where the convention center was at, in Concord. Concord's in basically just east of Charlotte. And I was like, oh my hotel's like 23 minutes away. And I'm like, I don't know if I should do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm calling it. And I just started packing up, and like everybody else, you can kind of tell was like, unless they were staying on site, they were like, yeah, I'm out. Yeah. Because you want to talk about, Portland not having infrastructure for it. The Carolina sure as hell no. I mean, Asheville and stuff like that too, but like Charlotte, outer skirts of Charlotte, Greenville, they have nothing for it. They just salt. But I'm like, if it rains first and then snows, it literally ices over and just pushes off the salt anyway. So it does nothing. And so I was really worried. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and get the drive-through, get something really quick on the way in. And I go, and I'm looking up stuff, and everything was closed already. So I was like, oh, that's so bad. When Chick-fil-A is closed on a weekday after like 2 o'clock, that tells you right now that something's happening. Because they don't mess around with that kind of stuff. And then so I ended up I just ended up left early. And I was like, man, I'll just have like go to the hotel and like a microwave dinner or something at the thing. I was like, yeah. And then I went to one of my favorite delivery pizzas, one of the chain pizzas. I absolutely love Marco's Pizza. Yeah. They have that triple pepperoni right now. They do. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see it. So I like made a delivery option. I was like, there's no way they're going to deliver it. Like they're just going to, because it's hard. It was snowing outside.
Are you going to mention Ichibancon anywhere in the story?
I'm sorry, but we're talking about pizza. What? Pizza kind of takes priority to everything.
We've gone through all the weather, the highways, pizza now.
Well, I'm just saying this is something that like people experienced at the show.
Sounds like they experienced it outside of the show.
If you stayed on site, it's cool. Like, good. People were out, cosplayers were outside taking photos in the snow. It looked really cool.
What kind of crowd did they get, though? So, how many do you think they had?
Okay, so it's a 4-day show.
It's 4 days?
Which is absurd to me.
I didn't realize that.
But the crowd on Thursday was bigger than the crowd on Friday.
Really?
Which is the first I've ever experienced.
That's interesting.
And I gotta say, they do a few different things that I personally would not do at a show, which was they have basically for vendor side, not for attendees. It has nothing to do with the con itself for attendees, because I think it's a fantastic actual thing. But they do the whole was it garage sale? What do they call it?
Like the swap meets or the night markets or whatever.
Swap meet where
they do that at anime shows a lot.
And I gotta say, it is way too packed. Yeah. And the vendor hall was like empty on Saturday when they did it.
You should have programming like that to accentuate.
It should be after hours.
What's going on at the show as opposed to
you're taking people from vendors who paid a lot more money to be there. Like, to me, I think that's the only real mistake that they made. Make it after hours, or even before the show starts.
Well, I think that's why a lot of those anime shows do night markets, so that it is after the con stops, and then the vendors that are there have a chance to buy a table at the swap meet or the night market.
Like on Sunday, for example. Like, so basically, I was there giving beneficial things to sell tickets on site, where you got a bigger discount and you got to like. You had a Gonda machine, a little pop-in, a little thing came out.
Yeah. Those are good.
They got to pick a color. The color they got to pick out a prize of it. And I had some really good. So I had signed Funko Pops. I had Anime Town Bucks. I had a bunch of stuff, and it was actually really good. And I ended up selling about 30 tickets on site. So for me, it was worth it. And then a lot of people were buying them when they got home, even though they don't want like for a little less discount. So whatever. But so it ended up being definitely worth it. But yeah, the swap meet thing I didn't care for because on Sunday, they did it right when the show opened. The line was so long, which was great for me because it was right in front of me. So I literally gave everybody a flyer that was there. And, you know, I had 2,500 like 4x6 postcards and I left with like 15. So I definitely handed out a ton. I'm seeing a nice boost in sales online, so it was worth it for me. I did get a cheap hotel room, which was fantastic. But it's one of those ones, if you guys are going to as a 10-year vendor, I would definitely stay on site.
Right.
It's one of those ones, they have a restaurant, they have food. And honestly, there's a ton of people getting food delivered, like a ton. Oh, yeah. And just in case there is weather like that again, you don't have to worry about anything. Your car's parked out there, you leave it, you're good to go. You ain't got to mess with it. But yeah, it's a cool show. I found out there after talking to staff that I recognize that they're owned by Colossal Con.
You know, I've always applied to get in Colossal Cons, either of them, and I've never have gotten into one.
I would absolutely love
I always hear good things about them, though.
I just want to go to a show that's actually fun and make money.
Yeah.
Because like we go to so many shows, even if they're like really good money makers, they're boring.
Well, I want to do the one in Sandusky, Ohio.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where Cedar Point is.
It's a water park.
It's America's roller coaster.
In a water park.
I mean,
like how fucking cool is that?
Yeah.
I've only heard great things about it. I've heard a single person ever complain about that show.
I think I heard good things about the Wisconsin Dells one.
Yeah. I would love to go do this.
I did an anime show in Wisconsin Dells once. What was that called? It had a weird name with a D.
Was that the one that had the drama that closed?
It had drama. Not the year I was there. It was the year after I was there. The only thing I didn't like about it was they had it in a basement of a resort that had one elevator. That was the only thing. You had to wait for the elevator to load in, and every vendor had to wait. You know, and you could only fit one vendor in his cart a time. I remember hating that about it, but it got good traffic. There was a lot of people there, and I just don't remember the name of it.
I mean, Colossal Con took over that show. Like, they don't think they bought it or anything like that, but like they took over that facility. So Colossal Con North is their show.
Right.
They took over Wisconsin, but I don't remember the show.
I don't remember it. It began with a D, though. I'm almost positive. I don't know. Looking at that matter. Either way. You got anything else to add for IchimonCon?
I would definitely, if you're a vendor, and I would say
I've never gotten in.
The smallest vendor.
That must be why.
Literally, I kid you not, guys. It was when you walked into the middle. You had 2 rows to the left, and I'm talking probably 100 feet long, 150 feet long, probably, by like 100 feet wide, and like it was 1 row on the left, like 1 more row. And then a row in the middle that split vendors, artist alley, and then 1 more artist alley. That's it.
Wow.
I would say maybe there's 50.
And that show's been around for a pretty decent amount of time.
And this is their 15th year.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah, I'd love to do it someday.
Yeah, if you're listening, we are in next year. I mean, I'll be there the way promoting, but I would love to be there as a vendor too.
Yeah.
So like I have a staff member, I will happily send them, and we can stay together or whatever.
Way better.
Because it's a fantastic show. Like everybody I talked to inside did well, except for when they had the swap meet thing.
I would imagine. Yeah, the swap meet thing needs to get rethought. That's a little.
Just do it after hours.
I agree.
Like people hang out anyway.
A lot of anime accounts do that exact thing.
Or do an hour before the show starts or something. Like I just feel like it takes away from the vendor for a little too much.
It absolutely takes away
from the vendor. When I tell you it was packed on Sunday, it was packed. Like probably a room that's half the size, like a huge panel room full of just tables. And there's at least a few hundred people in there the whole time. The whole time until the show almost ended.
I don't understand the purpose of the swap meet versus a vendor floor and having both. It makes more sense when they call it a night market and do it after hours, but doing it during the show, that's just another vendor floor.
DashOCon.
DashOCon, that's the one I did. Yeah. Not DashCon.
Which is another fantastic show.
We should do a history of DashCon. It'll be a short episode when we do that. But that is epically legendary, so for failing, which you guys already know that. Either way, let's sum this up.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed these 18 reviews that we just did.
You did a 3-for-1 combo.
Was that 3? It sure was.
I
hope you enjoyed these trips reviews that you just got.
Yes.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Join the convo.